Good morning, YouTube. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, and Anthony Tom Roaring Kitty upset the internet world yesterday, and meme stocks are back. I don't know if either of you have any idea what I'm talking about, but it was a wild day on the stock market. GameStop and AMC, I don't know if you remember from a few years back, those meme stocks were going crazy. People were getting rich in a day. And somehow yesterday, it just came out of nowhere. One Twitter user made the world go crazy yesterday. How about that?
I need to hear more.
Okay. So Roaring Kitty, a Twitter guy, was big into these meme stocks a few years ago. He then his last tweet a few years ago was a emoji of a cat going to sleep. All right. Hasn't tweeted anything since. Yesterday, he tweeted an emoji of a cat waking up. The Redditors went crazy, and AMC and GameStop went bonkers yesterday. It was up, yes. And apparently it's up big after market trading. So we might have another day of some wildness. So yes, it's pretty.
I love it. The internet's great. The internet is absolutely great.
Yeah, if you have your ear to the ground, there is a way to make quick money and lose quick money in this world today. I mean, they're talking about Bitcoin shooting up. We're talking about meme stocks. I don't know how you actually pull your money out in any of this stuff, but the only one that got into this game a little bit was Anthony. So let's throw it to him real quick. What do you got for us?
I mean, get in while you can while it's low, because once it starts dropping, it starts dropping. I remember like a few years ago, I mean, I jumped in on that craze. I didn't get rich in a day. It'd be nice. But, I mean, hey, I think I lost a little bit. But yeah, get in and get out. Don't hold that. So it's only going to last for a short
I think it might be a little bit too late already if you want to jump in today after yesterday.
Probably a little too late at this point, yes. But I just
that's interesting. The internet's fantastic.
Yeah. So if you hear that, if you hear Roaring Kitty, AMC, GameStop, that's the reason why it kind of popped off yesterday out of nowhere. So that's that. So that was a fun way to start the week. Also, this weekend we had a little brain session scenario, brainstorming on how we can help real estate agents and buyers with the upcoming changes. So it seems like all the changes are coming down the road. August is that deadline where, in my eyes, it's getting more expensive for a home buyer to purchase a home.
Yeah, it's quickly approaching. And before you know it, it's going to be there. It's already midway through May, folks. We were just on here talking about the end of the month. I mean, I know we're not the only ones that think these 2 weeks went extremely fast. So it will be here before you know it.
Absolutely. So we got to start preparing now. So what are the changes? If you've been sleeping under a rock for the last forever in the real estate world, the seller paid the buyer's broker and their broker. Commissions all got split up to the agents off the seller. That's changing. Okay. Seller, unless they want to, no longer customarily pays all the commissions. So now buyers are going to be paying their own agents. That means maybe you can get a little bit lower of a home price, maybe, but that also means you're paying for your own representation in your closing costs. I don't know what you guys see on a daily basis. I don't think it's going to be just ho-hum, throw 3% extra of the purchase price into closing costs, and buyers are going to be able to pick up that whole cost. I don't think that's possible.
No, I don't either. I think most of it's going to end up having to come from the sellers still, but there are going to be the sellers that know the role and don't want to do that knowing they do have a hot property.
Yes. So it's going to be, how do we make this work for all sides? Buyers agents absolutely deserve to get paid, but how do they get paid without making the home unaffordable for the home buyer? That's what we're shooting for here. And really, I think the plan, at least from our perspective, is to kind of spread it around. Have all parties pick up a portion of it. And let me get in here. Pick up a portion. And that's why we're calling this program the 1-1-1 program. And what that means is that 1% of the commission is going to be paid by the seller. 1% of the commission is going to be paid by the buyer. And 1% of the commission is going to be paid by the lender, us, in the world of a lender credit. So I think the boys on the screen believe that communication with loan officers and realtors were always important. Now in August, it's going to be magnified because buyers are going to need to know what their exact costs are relating to real estate commission. So what does this mean? How do we spread it around? Let's talk about it real quick. So there's 3 of us on this show. We can each talk about 1% real quick to give the buyer's agent a full 3%. So I'll take the buyer. Tommy, you can take the lender. Anthony, you can take the seller. All right. So let's talk about a $300,000 purchase price. If I'm a buyer, I'm like, okay, I need to pay my buyer's agent. Let's pay him 1%. That would be $3,000. Now the agent needs to get rest of their commission. So Tom, let's talk about how the lender will pay it and what a lender credit means.
Yeah. So when we're dealing with rates and the fees and everything, we could give what's called a lender credit. I mean, we've been talking for the last 2 years on here about discount points. A lender credit is kind of the opposite. We're going to go the other way with the rate. Instead of buying the rate down, we're going to increase that rate to give them a percentage back at closing. So if we do raise that a quarter, the interest rate a quarter, it almost gives a point every time. So that's what we're looking at, is going to be raising the interest rate by a quarter to 0.375 to get you 1% extra to help pay for one of the ones in our total of 3.
Correct. So now we got the buyer paying their own 1%. You got the lender coming in paying 1% for the buyer. And now, Anth, let's talk about where we get that 3%, and that's from the seller.
3% is going to be seller's assistance. So basically, in the offer, you'll ask for 1% seller's assistance for your buyer, or the buyer would, and that would be paid for by the seller.
Boom. There you go. 1% assistance. That's all you have to ask for to make sure that the buyer's agent can get 3% commission, but the buyer themselves are only paying 1%. So let's take a look real quick. As you see at the bottom, I have this worked up as a $300,000 purchase with 5% down.
Next slide.
You got to move the slide.
Well, I tried to move the slide. Hold on. Hold on. We got problems.
I love technical difficulties.
Oh, that's okay. We got problems.
No, and this is important because you all are only asking 1% seller's assist. So that still leaves 2% open if something were to go wrong with inspections or other things.
Right. So right here, we have a $300,000 purchase. We have 5% down, and we have an APR of 7.889. But right at the bottom is the biggest breakdown, where you have the buyer's broker commission of $9,000. You're getting a lender credit for $3,000. You're getting a seller assistance for $3,000. So $9,000 minus $6,000 leaves the buyer paying their 1% of $3,000. We feel that this is going to keep the market moving. We feel that this is going to keep homes affordable in this new way that buyers have to pay their commission. I don't think sellers are just going to pay 3% seller assistance. I think they're going to hold pat. And so we have to work with you guys as buyer's agents to make this affordable, because we understand agents have to get paid for what they're doing for buyers. Nothing out there is free. And but we see buyers closing costs all the time in their assets, and it's tough just to add that much to a buyer's cost. So this is what we're doing, trying to help here.
No, I think it's a great idea. And I mean, from the little think session we had with all those agents this weekend, all of them had great feedback and said that they'd want to use it. So I think we're going to keep pushing it. Kudos to those agents for helping us out this weekend, getting this together. So I think it's going to be good.
Right. So let's recap. Buyer's agent gets 3% commission. The 3% commission is split up between 3 parties. The buyer will pay 1% by themselves. The lender will give 1% lender credit. The seller will give 1% seller assistance. Now, this does not work, real estate agents, if you don't ask for the 1% assistance in the offer. Right?
It also does not work if you don't let us know. We need to talk about this. We need to know. The communication is key more now than ever. You're not going to be able to just go with a buyer that has a random pre-approval from a lender you've never met. I don't think it's going to work that well.
Absolutely. So we want to work with you guys. We want to work with your buyers. We want to work with any buyers out there who's confused what these changes mean. We talk about costs. We talk about fees. We talk about interest rates. That's what we do. We're here to help. We want to help. Give us a call. Mr. Senior, finish us up.
I think it's a great program. I think it's going to be very valuable. Considering most clients don't have 3% additional. So splitting it up is going to be pretty nice for them to still be able to buy and the agents still be able to get paid. So other than that, that's all I have. Don't invest in AMC if you're not a responsible spender, and GameStop. And
I like that. Make sure you end the podcast today so we don't go live for 10 minutes afterwards either.
I'm definitely going to make sure my computer doesn't go on the haywire. So
I don't even know if we were live at the beginning. I don't know.
We were. All right, boys. Talk to you later.
see you guys.